And I'm starting to think that my grandma's in trouble.
Who's ready to celebrate?
I'm gonna make sure you don't go down.
To our future.
General Hospital.
The rain over Port Charles had a way of making everything feel heavier. Secrets, regrets, even hope. That night, the city seemed to hold its breath. Kai stood beneath the awning outside Kelly's, watching water stream along the curb in silver ribbons. He hadn't slept in nearly 2 days, not since he'd stumbled onto the piece of evidence that could change everything for Josslyn and for her brother. Inside, the diner glowed warm and gold. Josslyn sat in a booth by the window, fingers wrapped around a mug gone cold. She'd been there for hours, replaying the same nightmare, accusations, whispers, and the looming threat that her brother might be lost to a crime he didn't commit. Kai took a breath and pushed the door open. The bell above it chimed softly. Josslyn looked up, and in that instant, Kai saw the exhaustion etched into her face. But he also saw something else, stubborn faith, the kind that refused to die even when everything else did. "You found something," she said, not a question, a certainty. Kai slid into the booth across from her. Rain clung to his jacket. He didn't bother shaking it off. "Yeah," he said quietly, "I did." Her hands tightened around the mug. "Tell me." For a moment he hesitated, not because he doubted the truth, but because he knew what it meant. The revelation wouldn't just clear her brother, it would expose someone powerful, someone dangerous. But Josslyn deserved the truth, and so did Port Charles. Kai reached into his bag and pulled out a slim folder, worn at the edges from too much handling. He placed it on the table between them. "This," he said, "is why your brother's innocent." Josslyn's breath caught. "What is it?" "Security logs," Kai replied, "from the night of the incident, not the ones the police have, the original system records before they were altered." Her eyes widened. "Altered?" He nodded. "Someone tampered with the timestamps, moved your brother's presence to make it look like he was at the scene when it happened." The diner seemed to fade around them. Josslyn stared at the folder like it might vanish if she blinked. "Who would do that?" she whispered. Kai's jaw tightened. "That's the part you're not going to like." She swallowed. "I don't care. Just tell me." He opened the folder, sliding out a printed sheet, a matrix of time codes and access logs. He pointed to a line highlighted in red. "This entry shows someone accessing the system at 2:13 a.m., right before the timestamps changed." Josslyn leaned closer. "Can you trace who?" "I already did." Silence stretched between them. Kai met her gaze. It was someone inside the security firm contracted to monitor the building, someone with full admin privileges. Her pulse thundered in her ears. "Name." He exhaled slowly. "Marcus Hale." Josslyn's face went pale. "Marcus? He's connected to—" "I know," Kai said. "That's why this is dangerous." Marcus Hale wasn't just any security chief. He was deeply tied to several influential figures in Port Charles, people who preferred their problems buried and their power unquestioned. Josslyn pushed the folder away slightly, as if it burned. "Why would Marcus frame my brother?" Kai hesitated again. "Because your brother saw something he wasn't supposed to." Her eyes snapped up. "What?" "That's what I've been trying to piece together," Kai said. "But there's more." He slid another page across the table. "This is the unedited surveillance snapshot, pulled from the backup server." Josslyn stared at the grainy still image. A hallway, a door ajar, 2 figures in shadow. Her brother and someone else. Someone whose face was unmistakable. Her voice broke. That's Marcus." Kai nodded. "Your brother wasn't committing a crime. He was confronting Marcus." "About what?" Kai's voice dropped. "About a cover-up." The word hung between them like thunder. Josslyn's thoughts spiraled. If her brother had discovered something, and Marcus silenced him by shifting blame. Oh my God, this goes way deeper than we thought. Kai leaned forward. Yeah, and once this comes out, there's no putting it back. She closed her eyes briefly, then opened them with renewed fire. Then we don't put it back. We expose it. He searched her face. You're sure? My brother's life is on the line. I'm beyond sure. Kai felt something fierce and protective inside him. This was why he'd kept digging, why he'd risked everything, because Josslyn never stopped fighting for the people she loved. Okay, he said, then we do this right. The courthouse steps loomed gray against the morning sky. Reporters clustered like birds, microphones poised, sensing a storm. Word had spread overnight, new evidence in the case against Josslyn's brother. Josslyn stood beside Kai at the base of the steps, heart hammering. Her brother, pale but steady, flanked by his attorney, waited just behind them. You ready? Kai murmured. She nodded. Are you? He gave a faint smile. Been ready for 2 days. A hush rippled through the crowd as they approached the podium set up for statements. Cameras clicked. Questions erupted. Josslyn, is it true there's new evidence? Kai, did you uncover tampering? Is Marcus Hale involved? The name alone sent murmurs through the gathering. Josslyn stepped to the microphone. For a second, nerves threatened to choke her. Then she felt her brother's hand on her shoulder. Strength flooded back. My brother has been accused of a crime he did not commit, she said, voice clear. For weeks, our family has lived under suspicion and fear. Today, we're here to set the record straight. She stepped aside slightly. Kai. He took the microphone. 2 nights ago, Kai began, I accessed the original security server for the building where the incident occurred. The official logs presented to investigators were altered. Gasps rippled through the press. Kai held up the documents. These are the unmodified records. They show that Josslyn's brother was not at the location at the time claimed. They also show unauthorized administrative access moments before the logs were changed. A reporter shouted, "By whom?" Kai didn't flinch. Marcus Hale. The reaction was immediate. Shouts, camera flashes, stunned faces. Kai continued, voice steady. Additionally, we recovered backup surveillance stills showing Marcus Hale present with Josslyn's brother shortly before the event. This indicates my client, he caught himself, then corrected gently, Josslyn's brother was confronting Marcus, not committing a crime. The attorney stepped forward, adding, we are submitting this evidence to the court today and requesting immediate dismissal of charges. Josslyn's brother spoke next, voice rough but resolute. I told the truth from the start. I saw something wrong and I tried to stop it. I never imagined I'd be blamed for it. The press erupted. Kai felt Josslyn's hand find his. She squeezed hard. Thank you, she whispered. He glanced at her. Not over yet. She nodded. I know. Inside the courthouse, tension coiled thick in the air.
Marcus Hale sat at the defense table for a separate hearing already in progress, summoned after the explosive revelation. His composure was brittle, jaw clenched, eyes flicking toward Kai with cold fury. Kai met the stare without flinching. The judge entered. Proceedings began. Josslyn sat beside her brother, fingers laced through his, every second stretched like wire. The prosecutor presented the original case timeline. Then the defense introduced Kai's findings. The judge examined the documents, expression darkening. Mr. Hale, she said, voice sharp, do you deny accessing this system at 2:13 a.m.? Marcus's attorney rose quickly. Your Honor, we contest the authenticity. The judge cut him off. The court will determine authenticity. Mr. Hale? Kai hesitated. A flicker of calculation crossed his face. No, he said finally, I accessed the system. A wave of murmurs surged through the gallery. Why? The judge demanded. Marcus's gaze slid toward Josslyn's brother. Because he was interfering with an ongoing investigation. Josslyn's brother surged up. That's a lie. Order, the judge snapped. Kai stood. Your Honor, may I address that claim? She nodded. Kai approached, calm and precise. Mr. Hale asserts that Josslyn's brother interfered with an investigation. yet there is no record of such an investigation filed with authorities or building management. Additionally, the surveillance still shows Mr. Hale and him alone, arguing. He placed the image on the evidence screen. The courtroom watched as the grainy picture appeared, two figures face to face in a hallway. "Mr. Hale," Kai said, "what exactly were you investigating at that hour?" Marcus's eyes hardened. "Security irregularities." Kai tilted his head. "Then why alter the logs to place him at the scene of the crime?" Silence. The judge leaned forward. "Answer the question." Marcus's composure cracked. Sweat beaded at his temple. "Because," he began, then stopped. Kai stepped closer, voice low but cutting. "Because you caught you deleting footage." The courtroom froze. Josslyn's breath caught. Marcus's head snapped up. "That's not—" Kai tapped another key. A second still appeared. Marcus at the server room door, holding a drive. "I recovered this from the backup cache," Kai said. "You weren't investigating, you were erasing." The judge's gavel slammed. "Mr. Hale, you are now under suspicion of evidence tampering and obstruction." Marcus's attorney leapt up. "Your Honor." "Sit down," she said coldly. She turned to the clerk. "Notify authorities immediately." The room exploded into chaos. Josslyn clutched her brother as tears spilled down her face. "It's over," she whispered. "You're free." He shook with relief. "You never gave up." She pulled back just enough to look at Kai across the aisle. Their eyes met. Gratitude, trust, something deeper, unspoken. Outside, sunlight broke through the clouds for the first time in days. Reporters shouted updates, charges dismissed, Marcus detained, investigation expanding into broader corruption. Josslyn stood on the steps again, but this time her brother stood beside her, unshackled, free. Kai lingered slightly apart, letting the family have their moment. Then Josslyn turned and crossed to him. "You did it," she said softly. He shook his head. "You did. You believed when nobody else did." She smiled through tears. "I believed because of you." He didn't know what to say to that, so she said it for him. "You risked everything," she said. "Why?" Kai looked out over Port Charles, the city he'd nearly lost faith in. "Because truth matters." Then he met her gaze. "And because you matter." Her breath caught. For a heartbeat, the world narrowed to just them. Rain-washed air, distant traffic, and the echo of a battle finally won. She stepped closer. "So what happens now?" Kai smiled faintly. "Now? The fallout." She laughed softly. "Yeah, Port Charles won't stay quiet." "No," he agreed, "but at least the right person isn't paying for someone else's crime." She reached for his hand, fingers threading through his. "I don't know how to thank you." "You already did," he said. "How?" "You trusted me." She squeezed his hand. "Always." Weeks later, the city still buzzed with repercussions. Investigations spread, secrets unraveled, alliances shifted. But at Kelly's, life settled back into something resembling normal. Josslyn slid into the booth by the window, the same one from that stormy night. Sunlight poured across the table now. Kai arrived moments later, dropping into the seat opposite. "No rain," he glanced outside. "Feels strange, doesn't it?" "Good strange." They ordered coffee. For a while they just sat, absorbing the quiet after chaos. Then Josslyn spoke. "My brother got the official clearance letter today." Kai's eyes warmed. "That's huge." "He wants you to come to dinner, family thing." Kai raised an eyebrow. "Am I being vetted?" "Definitely," she teased, "but they already adore you." He laughed. "I'll take my chances." She grew serious. "You gave him his life back." Kai shook his head. "He fought too, remember that?" She nodded. "We all did." He watched her for a moment. The resilience, the compassion, the fire. "Josslyn," he said quietly, "there's something I never asked." "What?" "Why you never doubted him, not even once." She didn't hesitate. "Because he's my brother, and because I know the difference between someone hiding guilt and someone buried under lies." Kai absorbed that. "You saw the truth."
She met his eyes, just like you did. Silence settled, comfortable, full. Outside, Port Charles moved on, cars passing, people laughing, a city healing in its imperfect way. Inside, two people who had walked through darkness together found themselves standing in the light. Josslyn lifted her mug. "To truth," she said. Kai clinked his against hers. "To truth." And somewhere in the quiet between heartbeats, they both knew this wasn't the end.